I want to say my heart goes out to the young people, college, university level young people today. They're being sent into mills, absolute mills, where they're not being taught to be open-minded and to follow different paths of thought, to come to their own conclusions, to utilize their own level of understanding. It's militaristic the way they're being told they must think. You must conform to the standard of our society, and that standard is extremely progressive. If you dare to have any form of faith, you're seen as this idiot, a moron, an uneducated fool. You must be an atheist. You must believe that evolution is unchallengeable. It's a fact in your mind. And you must have this postmodern understanding. It's an absurd understanding of reality. That reality is only what you perceive it to be. And this is thanks to this Nietzsche, this philosopher who died in 1900. He had the idea that reality is only what you perceive it to be, and therefore there can't be absolute truth. Truth is only what you perceive to be true. Now, here's a couple of quick examples. If a pilot is flying over a town and looks down, his perception of that town is that it's a small town. Now, to a child riding his bike in that town, there are a couple of streets he's comfortable with, and the rest of the town he just knows is there. To him, his perception of that town is that it's enormous. To an ant walking across a lawn in that town, to him, the town is a universe of space. It's endless. It's infinite. Each of them has a vastly different perception of the town, but reality has not changed 1 centimeter. That town has remained exactly the same size. Perception does not impact reality. Reality is a constant, and perception just interprets that reality. But and you're gonna, maybe some of you liberals are going to suggest, well, that's the point of it, is that your perception adjusts to reality. No, reality is static. Reality has not changed. You can have a skewed perception of it. You can have an uneducated perception that doesn't grasp all of it, but the reality does not change. And with exploration, with experiment, with careful thought, you can look at reality and get the full facts. They're sitting right there. Just go and look. Now, 3 people jump off a building all at the same time, 60 floors up. One has a perception that they're going to hit and bounce and be okay. Another has a perception that the ground is going to be like water. They're going to sink down into it and come back to the surface just fine. The third has the perception that when I hit, I'm going to splatter. All 3 have different perceptions, but the outcome, no matter who it is, no matter what the perception, the outcome will always be the same. Always. Because reality will always be the same. Now, Nietzsche and this idea that reality isn't really there, that it's only perception, it's crap. And anyone who endorses and supports this kind of thinking, I love to see the posts on this flowery language. But what is reality anyways? It's almost like intellectual masturbation. There's this sensation, this thrill, that look at me, look at how philosophical, look at how profound I am. And who can really know it all, but... Oh, my kids are coming in, and I'm not done my video. But the postmodern philosopher needs to pull his head out from down below. Reality is all around you. Go and look at it. Reality doesn't shift and doesn't change. Now, in harmony with that is truth. Truth is absolute. Truth doesn't change. If you look across cultures, across centuries, across millennia, if you read some of the oldest, some of the most historic writings on the planet, the Epic of Gilgamesh is one example. 5,000 and some years old. The range of emotion, the values that those people had 5 millennia ago are very common. We can understand them today. They haven't changed. The value of courage, the power of love, None of these things have changed in 5,000 years. Can you stop and say, wait a minute, there's something that materialistic science and postmodern intellect is not looking at, is missing. And it's a fundamental truth. Those things, those values that were sacred and true and real back then, 5,000 years ago, are the very same today. Love is a high calling. Courage and honor are the embodiment of humanity. Fear and cowardice are to be loathed. None of these things have changed. In fact, the same emotional sensations haven't changed. So therefore, truth hasn't changed in 5,000 years. Now, Nietzsche, when he says that truth isn't really, it can't be real. How does a man like this have such influence? Ask yourself that. How does a man with such a failed, I mean, have you seen fail blog on YouTube? I love those. I love to see someone doing something really stupid and it ends in tragedy. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But Nietzsche should be on fail blog for a very failed philosophy, a deeply flawed philosophy. And unfortunately, the young people today are being forced, absolutely forced, to believe this garbage. And they're good kids, they really are. And it just breaks my heart to see these innocent, fresh faces, enthusiastic. They want to go out and do the right thing. They want to go out and be good people. I read an article recently that Generation Y is basically disconnected from faith. They really have been trained according to what the progressives want them to believe. They don't see past their family, their friends, and themselves. That's the extent of their belief and their understanding. And it's just deeply sad. At this point, I think that there needs to be an awakening. There needs to be a voice bringing the gospel to these young people. And let it open their eyes that the world is much more vast than what they've been told. In fact, life is more vast than what they've been led to believe. We're not limited to, we're not restricted by our range of experiences. Life is much grander than that. Life is much more beautiful. Life is truly a gift that we've been given. And it's temporary, it passes quickly, but it's only the beginning. After this life, more is to come. I hope this video is thought-provoking and generates some conversation. Thanks for listening.